Hi everyone, first and foremost, Happy New Year. I hope that this new year you will pay less taxes. That's one of my wishes. And second is that you really grow your wealth. Now, over to a more serious topic that on this video, I'm going to do some major predictions regarding the market, not just for this year, but for the next few years. It will give you clarity regarding the Indian market, the US market, what the levels might look like, which asset classes might do well. I will present the entire data backed analysis. So if you are already invested, be it in real estate, be it in stock markets, what type of large caps you could consider. So I will have that macro conversation with you. So let's begin. And prediction number one is that 2025 is going to be a okay year for the stock market. It's not as if that we will see any major crisis, but on the flip side, we will also not see any major returns, right? Now, why am I saying it? So number one prediction for this is the banner chart itself. So in case you are unaware what banner chart is, basically this person had created this chart where he had indicated that these are the major years of crisis, right? When major panic has happened in the markets. And according to this chart, the predictions have been quite accurate, right? For example, in 1999, there was a dot-com crisis. 2019 में आपको बेच के निकल जाना चाहिए था because there was 2020 crisis. And पुराना चले जाओ तो ये सब चीज़ें भी ठीक बैठती हैं, right? So from this angle, even here, right, if you look at the next major crisis here, so to say, right, it will be somewhere around 2035. So no major crisis is likely to happen. That's point A. Point B related here is that if we apply macroeconomics, then again, it's getting fairly obvious that at this stage, the Indian government is unlikely to let the market slide too much. Even the US government is unlikely to let the market slide too much. Why? Because the leaders of these countries are tying their economy with the returns of the stock market, right? So कोई major crisis आ भी गई 2020 type, then also the market can be saved, right? There is enough macroeconomic room. For example, the interest rates right now are getting cut, right? And that is somewhat keeping the stock market alive. And the expectation is that going forward, this interest rate can be lowered in case there is any major macro negative event, right? So on that note, I would simply summarize the first point as that nothing major is going to happen on either side. And aisa bhi nahi ki you will see like a 15-20% loss in the market. We'll be somewhere around the average. Now, just to give you more clarity about the year 2025, here is the technical analysis which might be relevant for you. And what this shows is that here I have drawn a 6-month candle and each of these candles represent 6 months. And this is the latest candle, right? So isko bolte hain graveyard doji candle, right? And more specifically, this is a graveyard doji. It indicates bearishness. Bearishness means कि देखो market यहाँ पे बढ़ा, right? Now it has become indecisive here, and most likely it is going to fall on a long-term basis, right? Please notice the word long-term basis. अब इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि it will fall like this, right? And it will reach here. No, we don't know where exactly it will reach. But to cut the long story short, this is where it shows indecisiveness. So यहाँ से बहुत ज़्यादा तेजी से ऊपर बढ़ने की probability is less. Okay, this is point one. Point two, अगर आप returns देखो total market के, so यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक, this has been a 55% return from July of 2022. So this has been serious return in the last 2 years. So अगर average out भी आप अगर करके चलते हो तो on an average market gives like 12 to 13% returns every year. So 2022 में ऐसा होना चाहिए था, 2023 में another 12 to 13%, another 12 to 13% on an average in each of these 3 years. So मैं लिख लेता हूँ, तो ये 3 साल हो गए, right? एंड 2025 में अगर आप 12-13% निकाल के बैठो तो इसके आसपास ही रिटर्न निकल के आता है, राइट? सो देयर फॉर आई एम एस्टिमेटिंग दैट इट्स गोइंग टू बी एन ओके ईयर, नॉट समथिंग लाइक फायरवर्क टाइप ऑफ एन ईयर. प्रीवियस प्रेडिक्शंस कंफर्म दिस. जो बैनर से पता चलता है, टेक्निकल इंडिकेटर्स आर ऑल्सो टेलिंग अस द सेम. इफ वी डू मैक्रो एनालिसिस अगेन वी रीच दैट सेम कंक्लूजन. सो दिस इज अ वेरी न्यूट्रल व्यू पॉइंट दैट आई एम गिविंग यू. नाउ कम्स द सेकंड की पॉइंट विच इज द सेकंड की प्रेडिक्शन विच काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट्स दिस, विच हैज टू डू विद कॉर्पोरेट अर्निंग्स. तो मैं आपको ये बता देता हूँ, जैसे स्क्रीनर पे जाओ and look at any major company, right? So what you will see is that these are the results that companies are posting. तो ये तो yearly results हो गए. Now if you look at quarter wise results, तो आपको दिखेगा कि यार ऐसे में कोई धमाके नहीं हो रहे हैं, right? I mean in the last 1.5, 2 years, nothing major has happened per se. Okay, but what you would notice is that if you go from 2021 and 2022 तक, so there was a sudden spike in revenues. लेकिन आप यहाँ से यहाँ कंपेयर करोगे 2022 और 2023 और इवन 2024, सो यहाँ पे कुछ खास इंक्रीज नहीं हुआ है. हियर एंड हियर नो मेजर इंक्रीज हैज हैपेंड, राइट? हियर एंड हियर, बट हियर देयर वाज अ मेजर इंक्रीज, राइट? नाउ व्हाट वाज दिस? दिस वाज इंप्रूवमेंट इन कॉर्पोरेट अर्निंग्स, राइट? नाउ व्हाट इज the meaning of improvement in corporate earnings and why this is such a big deal. So उसका भी मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. तो यूजुअली होता क्या है कि जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल 2020 क्राइसिस जब हुई तो उस समय पे द गवर्नमेंट्स प्रिंटेड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी. फॉर एग्जांपल इफ X dollars वर फ्लोइंग इन द इकोनॉमी, सडनली विद इन अ ईयर ऑलमोस्ट 2x अमाउंट ऑफ मनी स्टार्टेड फ्लोइंग इन. तो उससे हुआ क्या कि कॉर्पोरेट अर्निंग्स राइट इंक्रीज्ड dramatically, right? So this was the year and this was roughly like 2021 2022 phase जब बहुत दबा के earnings बढ़ी companies की. Now what is happening? Now be it like Asian Paints, be it a lot of consumer durable companies, be it Hindustan Unilever, what is happening? The earnings growth is not happening. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल 13,000 करोड़ से 15,000 करोड़ हो गया था, बट यहाँ पे राइट 2023 2024 दीज अगेन हैव बीन वेरी एवरेज ईयर्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सपेंशन ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट अर्निंग्स. Why? Because the amount of money is not going up like crazy. Now, my second prediction is that in the year 2025, the corporate earnings are going to again grow at an average pace, right? And fundamentals are going to catch up. This growth was artificial, right? Now we are paying the price कि इसमें थोड़ी सी growth slow down हो रही है. Now this is going to be an year of averages, so to say. That is what my prediction for year 2025 is, that corporate earnings बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं बढ़ेंगी. It is going to show like average growth only, जो typical होती है. जैसे हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर के लिए the expected profit increase, revenue increase will be around 10-12%. Now if the stock is undervalued, then it might make sense to aggregate it. Should you aggregate? Should you not aggregate? I'm not going to issue a commentary there. It's your common sense. I teach all these fundamental points on my course also, on my member community also. So in case you guys are interested and if you're a serious learner, I would highly encourage you to learn all these fundamental points. होता उससे ये है कि you get a lot of confidence in terms of executing moves. Stock market is all about confidence. Investing world is all about confidence. So unless you have confidence in terms of buying these type of companies, by understanding these type of points, you'll not be able to execute anything. So definitely do check out my member community and courses. There is a special discount that we are running for the next 2 days. So definitely check it out. Now, my prediction number 3 is that the artificial intelligence industry is going to be the #1 industry where the earnings improvement will come over a fairly long period of time. जैसे most of you ask me or many of you ask me, especially on my member community, कि भाई ऐसी कुछ चीज़ें बता दो where we put our money for the next 3 to 5 years and अच्छा वैसा बन जाए. Okay, so then you need to pick like a really fast growth industry which is most likely going to happen, right? Where the growth rate of the industry itself is more than like 10-15% a year. So which industry or which singular industry is that? So right now that is artificial intelligence. Now here is the data and this is the expectation कि it's going to go from roughly $184 billion all the way till $826 billion till 2030. So कितना हो गया इंडस्ट्री का साइज? So ये हो गया almost 4x in how many years? In 6 years, right? Now this is massive growth rate, right? In a very short span of time. Now if you look at multiple studies are saying that you know what, the industry will grow anywhere between 3x to 7x till the year 2030. Now this is massive growth rate. अगर आप सिंपल इंडेक्स खरीद के बैठ जाओ, राइट, AI इंडेक्स, इवन इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई लाइक इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक्स, just AI index में if you invest, there is a good chance that your money will grow, right? So this is a very simple strategy. AI is where magnificent 7 companies were, let's say in the start of 2000, right? So if you would have picked those M7 companies, held it for like 20 years, you would have made crazy ton of money. Something similar is happening in AI industry, so to say right now, that this is a definite growth industry. Now, which specific stocks or index you should be picking? Again, I will write a note on my member community this week, which will give you more idea, which will give you more fundamental analysis of different type of stocks. So again, if you are interested, you can definitely check out my member community. Now, prediction number 4 is that swing trading on Nifty is going to be a very profitable strategy. Now, what is the meaning of swing trading and why you should trade Nifty? Because अब बहुत सारे आप शुरू हो जाएंगे, आप ट्रेडिंग सिखा रहे हैं. नहीं भाई, ट्रेडिंग नहीं सिखा रहा हूँ. This is like opportunistic investment bets. I am not a swing trader. I am an investor. But that does not mean when opportunities are there to make free money, I will not make free money. Okay. So let me just take you to the daily chart of Nifty 50. What you will notice is that अपनी peak से, right, Nifty has fallen by how much? Roughly 11%. Okay. Now, if you actually just simply draw the long-term pattern of Nifty, right, this is the trend line that you can draw. You are getting to buy Nifty right now at 11% discount. अब आपको करना क्या चाहिए, राइट? आई मीन टिपिकली स्पीकिंग इट्स वेरी सिंपल, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जांपल आपने यहाँ पे खरीद लिया, इवन इफ यू आर अ फंडामेंटल इन्वेस्टर, जो भी आपने बल्क इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है, रफली हाउ मच गेन यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट टू मेक? You can expect to make roughly 12% swing trade on this particular bet. नाउ यूल से दैट ओके आपने तो बोल दिया 12% बना लोगे, नहीं बने तो लिख के दे रहे हो स्टैम्प पेपर पे, नहीं आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू राइट इट ऑन स्टैम्प पेपर, आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग यू द लॉजिक, करना है करो, नहीं करना मत करो, राइट. सो नाउ सी गाइस, बेसिकली let's assume the worst case that okay you buy nifty 50 here and this trade fails, that for some reason, right, the nifty does not give you a return. Let me just draw this again, right. So this is the trend line, right. You buy it here, right, and nifty falls below, right, it falls here, right, and you are at like whatever like 3-4% loss or whatever it is, right here, right, and here you are cribbing कि यार अक्षत ने तो वीडियो बना दिया था and you know we bought like nifty and गेन नहीं बने ये वो, right, न्यू ईयर खराब कर दिया इसने, right. न्यू. So see here what you need to think is that okay fine, right, I mean you are sitting on a 3-4% loss on what type of an asset? This is a fundamentally strong asset which you bought when it was like around 10-11% discount. It unfortunately went to like 13-15%, right. 20% तक गिर जाए, right, so then आपका लॉस कितना हुआ, right, 10%, right, यहाँ से यहाँ तक का लॉस, right, so it has been 10% only, but you are now getting to buy a bear market. Bear market means that from its top or from its recent top, the market has fallen by 20%. Anyone who has bought stocks or anyone who has bought index in a bear market has always made money, right. You just have to be patient. You just convert this swing trade into a long-term bet and you will be okay. I hope it kind of makes sense. This is my prediction that if you actually trade this volatility, right, this volatility, if you trade, you are going to make very good money in the year 2025. Now, my next prediction is that M7 stocks in the US are going to lead the AI race. अब actually है क्या कि now in order to invest in AI stocks, there are two strategies. One is that you buy index, which I had already spoken about. The second strategy is that you buy companies that will lead the AI race, right? Now there are two sets of companies here. One is your M7 companies. For example, a company like Apple, which right now does not have much to do with AI. कुछ नहीं कर रही हो AI में एक तरीके से, right? आप बहुत basic काम है, right? But it has massive amount of cash which it is sitting on, which gives this company a lot of power to go and experiment, run a lot of R&D experiments, hire the best engineer to figure out कि next करना क्या है, right? Do they have the resources to do it? 100% yes. तो कुछ ना कुछ कर ही लेंगे. So even now, the M7 companies are very, very strong. Any stock of M7 that you're getting it at a discount, it kind of makes sense to hold them, right? The point that I'm trying to drive home is that if you go back like 10 years ago, people were wondering कि यार Apple जैसा stock, how can it have like $1 trillion market cap? भाई वो हो गया. And then it kept on doubling, right? It was madness, right? Now something similar can continue to happen with M7 stocks. Right now there is a lot of debate that is going on between Nvidia and AMD, राइट कि AMD बहुत अंडर वैल्यूड है, NVIDIA से तो ओवर वैल्यूड हो गया, उसने तो रनअप दे दिया भाई. लेकिन इफ़ यू लुक एट द बिजनेस ऑफ NVIDIA, इट इज़ अ मच सुपीरियर बिजनेस. नाउ आई विल डू अ सेपरेट वीडियो और अ सेपरेट नोट ऑन दिस टॉपिक. द इंपॉर्टेंट मैसेज दैट आई वांट टू ड्राइव होम इज दैट M7 stocks or top tech companies in the US, they are still likely to do exceptionally well because they are the ones who are going to lead the AI race. So definitely putting some money whenever these stocks are at a discount makes a lot of sense. Now my next prediction is that in India, you will be stopped from investing in US stocks or international funds. Now why is that the case? So आप इस तरीके की headlines देख लो that a lot of mutual funds or who were allowing you to invest money internationally, they have stopped taking SIPs or they have stopped taking lump sum investments. A lot of limitations have been put if you are trying to withdraw money or if you are trying to remit money from India to the US. Why? Because INR has been depreciating at a crazy rate. So one strategy of preserving the fall of INR is that not letting Indians invest abroad on their already taxed money. Now this thing is only going to go up in a time. So therefore, as an investor who wants access to international investing option, you should definitely have a separate account. For example, you could consider checking out Vested. It allows you to invest money directly in the US. It has a tie-up with HDFC Bank, so आप remit कर सकते हो जितना भी legal limit होती है. But the sooner you do it, the better it is because यहाँ पे limitations आ रही हैं and 2025 these limitations are only going to get more stringent. That's my estimate. Why? Because INR is very much online, falling to like 100 rupees to a dollar in a few years. So there is a very high chance of that happening. So it kind of makes sense to protect your wealth by at least having 20-30% exposure outside India. So then comes my next prediction that people with cash will win. Now what is the meaning of people with cash will win? होता क्या है कि when for example in 2020 you must have heard of examples कि यार you know what COVID crisis आई, market fell from like 12,000 nifty levels to 8,000 and पैसे खत्म हो गए हमारे, right? But imagine if you had the money when the market was at like 9,000, 9,500 also, you would have made crazy amount of money had you decided to invest. But लोगों के पैसे खत्म हो जाते हैं whenever crisis happens, so to say. Now, I'm not saying that this type of crisis will happen again, right? It might not happen anytime soon. Because of increased debt in the world that so much debt has been taken by the governments. There is a lot of volatility in the real estate market. There is a lot of volatility. There is a lot of distressed deals that are coming up, right? For example, I purchased a distressed property in Dubai recently. An अच्छी deal मिली मुझे, right? For my investors also, I was able to explore such a deal, right? So we bought like 3 apartments together and all at a very good rate, right? Why? Because it was a distressed deal, right? Similarly, I see these type of distressed deals coming out in township projects when it comes to major metros. So अगर आपको घर खरीद के रहने के लिए चाहिए, right? Not for trading and all that stuff, then these type of deals in townships and major metros in India might happen very soon, okay? Why? Because a lot of debt is maturing, right? The interest rate cuts are being delayed. So people who have already taken a lot of leverage, and if the job situation does not improve, then you will see a lot of distressed deals coming up. So these type of distressed deals happen very frequently in the real estate market. That's one. Second key thing, that a lot of distressed deal also happen in the stock market. Now how do exactly it works out? So आप चेक करो लार्ज कैप. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एशियन पेंट्स के एग्जाम्पल से समझते हैं. तो ये रहा प्राइस ऑफ एशियन पेंट्स, राइट? आप यहाँ से देख सकते हो कि 33-3400 पे था, राइट? राइट नाउ इट इज एट 2200. सो अ लार्ज कैप स्टॉक हैज करेक्टेड बाय ऑलमोस्ट अ थर्ड, राइट? सो 33% इस पर ड्रॉप आ चुका है. व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैज हैपेंड? हैव द रेवेन्यूज गॉटन क्रश्ड बाय दैट सेम नंबर? The short answer is absolutely not, right? अगर आप yearly revenue देखोगे, it's almost all time high. Profit इसका कितना crush हुआ in 2024? Well, all time high profits, okay? But the stock price is corrected by 33-34%. So उसमें हुआ क्या है? Well, this is a valuation correction of large cap company. भर के कंपनीज हैं इस समय, राइट, वेयर दिस सिनारियो इज प्लेइंग आउट, दैट वैल्यूएशन करेक्शन. नाउ सम कंपनीज आर नॉट गोइंग टू कम बैक अप बिकॉज दे वर ट्रेडिंग एट सुपर हाई प्रीमियम वैल्यूएशन, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अ केस स्टडी कुड बी टाटा मोटर्स. आई डोंट थिंक उसको इतना वैल्यूएशन मिलना चाहिए था. बट ऑन द फ्लिप साइड देयर आर सर्टन बिजनेसेस, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एशियन पेंट्स, इफ इट इज अवेलेबल एट 45-46 P, it's reasonable, right? It's not as if that this is like horrid P. Now this is a distressed deal that is going on in the market. So people who are able to identify these type of deals are well placed or are most well placed in 2025 to make investments. अब ये बता के नहीं आती इस तरीके की डील, अभी चल रहा है अच्छा, अब एकदम से बढ़ जाएगा, राइट? So that deal you might miss. So in order to explore these type of opportunities, A, you require knowledge, B, you require cash at that time. So I have been recommending that, you know what, you keep like 20% money in cash on the sides, which you can deploy in the market whenever opportunities come. Right now there are opportunities going on large cap, right? So again, I will release like a list from my side of stocks you could study further. But the important point or message was that you guys are able to identify these type of distressed deal. अगर आप वो कर पाते हो, then you are likely to make very good money even in the year 2025. So then comes the next prediction, that Bitcoin is not going to give you crazy gains this year. Now Bitcoin is a good asset to SIP right now, but not bulk buy at this juncture. It had already crossed that 100,000 USD mark, which was a psychological barrier. It has already given a very good sentiment play after Trump's election, that Trump is a pro Bitcoiner, so to say, right? And a lot of institutional money is going to come next into Bitcoin, but at what stage? It might take time, right? So a lot of Bitcoiners are very, very excited. I have always been a very balanced investor. I've made a lot of money in Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was going through the most horrid time, that is when I purchased Bitcoin, right? And made good money on it. But right now, I feel that it is a little bit bloated, right? So 2025 might not be the year of Bitcoin. Next comes the strength of global economy. Now, a lot of negative things have been said about the global economy, but I believe that China could be a savior of the global economy. Now the year 2020, 2021, 2022, even 2023 were really bad years for China. One, China was blamed for COVID, rightly so. And number two, Chinese real estate market went belly up, right? And it had a lot of issues. But despite all that, China recently posted its GDP growth numbers and they looked impressive. They in fact beat estimates. So going forward, looking at the strength of the Chinese economy, right? That's one engine that will pull the world. And the second engine has always been like the US. So they continue to pull the world. So both of these economies look to be in decent shape. For example, the US economy, overarchingly speaking, employment wise, they are okay. There is no major job crisis that is happening per se. वो अभी आपने Google की न्यूज़ सुनी होगी कि 10% workforce काट दी, this that stuff. But no, they seem to be okay. The Trump's administration has been favorably received by the stock market. So that's again good news. news. China's stock market is rebounding. So if we aggregate China plus US and keep the nationalistic sentiments aside, overall, these two nations doing well economy wise will pull the engine, so to say, and it will propel the world economy. Now, where does India fit into this? So this brings me to my last prediction, which has to do with the IT market. I feel that the IT market in India is going to have a bad time. I don't see it being very positive. Now, the reason is very simple, that if you take a look at the revenue growth of IT sector in India, you will notice that in the last 4-5 years itself, it hasn't done wonders, right? For example, यहाँ पे $150 billion का था, and then by 2023 it reached like $240 billion. Okay, and तब से it has been slowing down. So it's not as if that यहाँ पे double होने के chances बहुत ज़्यादा in the next 5 years, 6 years. It is going through a slowdown, not because there is some problem in IT, but because of the fact that new engines of growth are picking up, be it like artificial intelligence, machine learning. वहाँ से growth आ रही है. Now we don't know how IT industry is going to adapt to this. So this adaptation time is going to take a few years. Therefore, up until this point, Indian IT used to depend majorly on US and European markets. If we can figure out a way to sort of make it work within India by getting a lot of IT service demands from India itself, वो depend करता है government expenditure पे. Now, if government decides not to invest too much in IT infrastructure, so to say, but rather put that money in physical infrastructure development, then IT industry can suffer really badly. So at this juncture, I'm not very positive on the IT industry. Now, does that mean that it will forever be bad? Absolutely not. But I feel that at least 2025 is going to be a lukewarm year. Many people are presenting a contrarian viewpoint here, and I completely respect that. I might be wrong, right? These are my predictions. I can very well be off. But hopefully, by listening to these predictions, you would have gotten an idea how to reshape your portfolio. What are some things that you can do? So do let me know what is it that you plan on doing in the year 2025. Again, Happy New Year, and I hope that all of you have a great year ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.